Hello and welcome to Witchy Woman Podcast. I am your host, Danae Sweet, and this is episode 143. Today, I am going to recycle one of my older episodes. I feel like it's something that needs to... Oh my gosh, do you hear Barnabas? He will not stop crowing. Anyway, I'm going to share with you one of my earlier episodes, Disabilities within the Spiritual Community, with my friend Taryn Ash. I think it's something that is a subject that is not spoken about enough in our community, in the witch community, in the spiritual community. And it was on my mind. And also, I am just struggling right now. I don't know if it's a midlife crisis. There, you had to have heard that. Anyway, stupid Barnabas. Midlife crisis, the big sad burnout. I don't know. I just think I need I just need to do this. I don't have the energy to edit a full podcast episode, and I couldn't make myself do an interview that last week. I'm a little overwhelmed, and everybody gets that way, and I am no exception. So I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to bring you one of my older episodes to the newer listeners, and maybe some of my older episodes, or my older listeners hadn't listened to this either. So I guess without further ado, let's get on with this episode. Oh, wait. I should probably mention that Taryn, at the moment, I don't believe that she does Akashic readings for the public anymore. I know in that episode she did. I'm not sure if she does that. I'm pretty sure, actually, that she does not do that anymore. So, she's going to talk about it, but as far as I know, she's no longer doing that for the public, so maybe not bug her about that. But anyway, I'm sure she would share information on how she learned how to do it and all that good stuff. But as far as I know, she's not doing that for the public, doing readings anymore. So yeah. Okay, now I'll get into the interview. Today, I have a beautiful soul and amazing friend, Taryn Ash, on the podcast today. And we are going to talk about our spiritual practice, witchcraft, and how it all kind of weaves into disabilities and limitations. I am so excited to have this conversation with her. I think that it is a subject we need to be talking about within the spiritual community, and it's definitely not talked about enough. Before we start, I just have a little bit I want to tell you about Blessed Be Magic. I want to take just a little bit of time and tell you about this company called Blessed Be Magic. Now, they design for witches by witches, and they create modern talisman jewelry to remind you of your magic. Check out their modern take on classic magical symbols such as the triple goddess, triquetra, and pentacle in their minimalist jewelry that you can wear every day, anywhere. Find your perfect talisman at Blessed Be Magic. That is magic, spelled magic with a K at the end, .com. And use code WITCHYWOMAN for 15% off your order with them. Again, visit them at Blessed Be Magic. Magic is spelled with a K at the end, .com. And don't forget to head over to Instagram and like their page and follow them at Blessed Be Magic. You can head over to Instagram and check out my story. I did an unboxing of one of their amazing bracelets that I picked out. I absolutely love it. I'm wearing it. I've wore it ever since I opened up the box, but I do have a video there, and I will be posting the unboxing on YouTube as well. Okay. I swear to God, everything that could have gone wrong today has.
Yeah, I feel that energy today too. It's just it's weird.
It is. It's odd. So, we have Taryn on today. Had you on before, because you are an Akashic Records reader.
Right.
But I wanted to have you on to show, or to let everybody know about the alternatives. Because when I do my practice, it's different than yours because you have limitations. It's just how shit happens. Right. But when I'm because I know when I'm making my products, I'm like, how can someone else not use it? Is this going to be a problem for someone else? So it really started when I started thinking about how you do things and what limitations you have, it really changed the way I thought about creating products, creating magical items, because I don't know what would be not usable and what would be usable. So there's others that can identify with this, and
absolutely.
maybe just tell everybody, if you're comfortable, tell everybody kind of what your situation is and how that affects how you practice.
Absolutely. So I was actually diagnosed with JRA, which is Juvenile Rheumatoid Arthritis, around the age of 3. And it's an autoimmune disease. Many of us are intimately familiar with those. So I'm very physically limited. I have a lot of either partially or totally fused joints. So like I can't straighten my arms. I can't raise my hands up very high. I mean, you can see my hands. This is it. I can't straighten my hands out. So I have had to learn from a very young age to adapt, find stuff that works for me.
Right.
And back then we didn't have the internet. We didn't have support groups. I had nothing. So I just kind of sat and looked around and, well, what can I use to make this work? And what can I do? Because I'll be damned if I'm going to sit back and have somebody do everything for me. Because that's, for starters, that's unrealistic. You can't do that. Right. So what I learned with my magical practice and all of my spiritual practice basically is that do it in your head. Your mind is the most unbelievably powerful tool and underrated and underused tool that we all have. And that applies to everybody, not just those that are physically disabled.
100%.
And so visualization is very key in everything that I do. Like you did my Reiki stuff, so I can do Reiki, but I can't physically use my hands on somebody.
Yeah.
But I do it in my head. I visualize another, like a carbon copy of myself standing next to the person, putting her hands on it. And that works. I'm not actually touching them, but the intention is strong enough that it works every single time. And so I do that with everything. If it requires some type of hand movement, I just close my eyes and I imagine myself doing that. And I've honestly never really felt, I started to feel left out at first. We had a teacher that we were a part of, and she wasn't a witch, but part of her practice was to open a circle to do the rituals. And she would do, like a selenite wand around her with her arm, very simple. And I remember asking her, okay, well, I can't do that. So is there some way that I can do that and still safely open the circle? And I think, to her credit, I think she did say, just imagine doing that. But at the time I was like, seriously, that's it. That's all you're going to give me. Just think about it in my head. Okay. It took me a few years to finally have that click in my head that, you can do that just fine. And it's very safe. It happens. It's very purposeful. So, I've just had to, everybody's different. You just have to learn what works for you. And that includes everybody. We don't need all the tools. Some of the tools are really awesome, but we don't need all of them. No. So yeah.
That's awesome. So in our coven, that's one thing I've been really focusing on is when we do a ritual, I try to think of one for the people who don't have all the things. I try to substitute or give substitutes. If you don't have this, you can totally grab this from your kitchen, or my tea light thing. Like you can buy I think 50 tea lights at the dollar store for
really cheap.
Yeah, $5 or something. So I use tea lights a lot in our coven because I know that that's something that everybody has access to.
Right.
Then I start thinking about knot magic. The other day I was like, I have a knot spell for you. I'm like, well, shit. And I know that you can do that with your mind. I truly believe, if you worked through the motions of that spell and we're imagining this energetic, because really all that is, an energetic, when I do a knot spell, that piece of string is standing in for the energetic string, the energetic thing that we're actually that will actually carry out my spell or my intention. So I started thinking about that. I'm like, I really want to be intentional now with the rest of my spell work and the classes that I'm offering on how to make it accessible for everybody and not leave everybody out or anybody out, because I really feel like witchcraft and magical practices in general, and spiritual, just if you're just a spiritual person, not magical being like a witch, use that label. I still think that everybody should try really hard not to be so focused on what you can and can't do and
Mhm.
try to involve everybody.
Right.
I know that's hard sometimes, but so as far as, so for other people that have similar limitations or boundaries of what you have to kind of work through. So a simple, so like a fire spell. So one that you just have to light a candle and do an intention. Can you tell us how? Because I started thinking about, I'm like, how the hell do you light a candle?
Yeah, see, so for me, I can use matches.
Okay.
That's safe for me to use. I can't use those automatic ones that you have to pull the trigger because I don't have enough strength in my hands.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't use those, like those tall jar candles that you burn
Yeah,
for weeks. So for instance, I can't do that. At least I haven't figured out yet how to safely do that and not, light myself on fire.
Mm-hmm.
But another option is they have those candles, that flameless candles, that they're just a light so that you can just switch on. But I've heard that some of those switches are kind of hard too. So that might be, everybody's different.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But that's an option if you can't, also for people that just can't burn stuff,
Yeah. I like that. I've never thought about those kind of
candles. Yeah, I do tea lights. Tea lights are my main thing. And I do white. I don't even try to do different colors. I just try to keep it as simple as possible and go with that.
Mm-hmm.
But the flameless candle thing, I need to get me some of those, because there are days when I just don't want to do the extra, when you don't have the energy to do the extra work.
Yes.
And that would be something simple that would represent the flame.
Mm-hmm.
And you're good to go.
Absolutely. I've started, and this is something else, like I use tea lights, and then I will carve the symbol of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm working with Lilith, I'll carve her symbol in there, and maybe throw some, because I'm a glitter girl, I'll throw like red glitter on there to represent her.
Right.
But then I'm like, can you carve a candle? Could you do that sort of thing? And is there an alternative to it, you think?
I can. For me personally, I take a toothpick, and I mean, it's not real neat or artistic, but it works. And
okay.
Other than that, if you don't have the ability to do that, again, I would just do it in your head. Mm-hmm. or take your finger. If you can't, take your finger and draw it in the air, the symbol in the air over the candle.
That's what I was going to say. And if you can't use the pressure enough to carve it, you can use a marker.
Right.
Like you can draw on candles.
Yep.
Like it totally screws up your markers. I have a whole, like,
yep.
these are only for candles thing. And I draw on my candles if I don't want to carve them, because I suck at carving them. I really do. I don't have the
It's hard to be neat when you're carving them. I don't know how people do it. It's messy.
I don't know. I've seen the videos with the women just like whipping them out super quick, and these beautiful designs. Like I struggle to put like one rune on a candle.
Yep. I'm the same way. It's always so messy. I've also used, like roller bottle blends of oils. If it's a bigger candle, I will draw symbols with the certain oils on it like that, because then you don't have to push. You just swipe it on and
I like that.
You're good to go.
Yeah.
But you have to be careful of the oils, because some oils are flammable, and you need to do your research about that.
Yes. But, I have like made straight up torches accidentally by putting weird oils, because sometimes I'm lazy when I will, because I also don't have a ton of like expendable income, so I get a ton of candles from the dollar store, and I like to make them my own. So then I'll put like herbs or oils and just dress the top of it. But yeah, be careful. I don't remember what oil made it go poof. It might have been a cheap cassia oil that I had found, and it's supposed to be cinnamon, but I have an inkling that there might have been some alcohol in
probably
diluted down, because it was cheap. I'm like, oh, I'll just put that, and I dumped it on there. I'm pretty sure that's the oil that it was. But anyway, I lit it, and that sucker just went whoof.
I've read that eucalyptus is very flammable too. I mean, I've not tried that out, but yeah, you need to do your research with oils just to be on the safe side. So.
Definitely. And you can put too many herbs on it. I've like dumped too many herbs on it, and it just makes the entire top of the candle basically a torch. I mean, it didn't burn anything down, but it definitely scared the crap out of me the first time. And I'm like, oh. Yes. So also, what else was I going to ask? When you think about your magical practice, like I forget, because I don't see you as, you're just the same as me. Like I don't see the difference, because I don't know, I just don't. So I'm not always aware of it, and I'm guilty of that. Is there anything that because I know we've had the same crappy teacher. Is there
Yeah.
anything that you could tell other people that have a platform and that are teaching others that how to approach it? Like, because I know for me, if it wasn't you, if it was somebody else in our group that I knew had limitations, I would not know how to approach them and say, you know, is there anything I can do to make this easier? I don't want to offend them, but I do want to let them know that
Right.
I will work my butt off to try to find a way for you to do the same things we do, just in a way that's more comfortable for you. But I always feel like I'm going to offend somebody or make them feel, I don't want to make them feel any different.
Right. And I think for me, and I know not everybody's like me, but for me, I appreciate when people ask, just straight up ask.
Okay.
You know, I grew up on the internet, so I'm used to people asking me all kinds of very intimate questions about what I can and cannot do. So for me, it's not a big deal.
Right.
For others, it might be, but I would say just, you know, try to be mindful. I don't see disability discussed in magical and witchcraft circles or even spiritual circles. I don't think I've ever seen it openly discussed anywhere. And I think it should be both sides kind of coming in together when you can, when you're comfortable enough, you know, speak up of, you know, I can't do this. Is there some way that you could work with me to help me do something different? And, you know, obviously if you're a teacher, just put it out there. You know, if this method doesn't work for you, you know, contact me. Maybe I can help you find another way. Just open communication is so big. And I know not everybody's comfortable with that, but if you can, definitely communicate that.
Okay. I know, like when I was doing all the courses, I am trying, so I know somebody's going to complain at some point, because the classes I have made are completely, how do I say, they're going to be different for everybody. I have like a skeleton of the class, and then what the purpose of the student to do is to make that thing their own. So I'm going to give them, you know, a spell and say, show me how you do this in your,
I love that.
You know, and then it might be completely different, and they can show me, okay, this is how I do it because I don't believe in this, I believe in that, or I have a disability and I can't tie a knot around a candle. So I did it this way instead. So I think you're the main reason. I mean, and there's everybody that's in our group and in the world that has limitations has been an inspiration, but you for one, like, because I'm with you. Thank you. It's really, really pushed me to think of a magical practice in way different ways than just my way, if that makes sense.
Right. And I love your idea for having everybody make their own thing. And that's going to be beneficial for everybody, because then everybody's going to see that, okay, there's not one right way to do this. Look at all these other ways that we can do it. Exactly. And I think that's fantastic.
I think that for me, when I started doing things my own way, it empowered me. Like before, I thought with the specific spiritual teacher that we had, I was doing the things and it didn't, I don't know, it didn't feel powerful. It didn't feel, right. It was like I was saying my ABCs and that was it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then when I stopped and panicked because I didn't have a leader and I started doing things on my own, things changed. It was like a shift. And that's what I want for other people, is to go, oh, that's my magic. This is my way. And that's what makes this whole thing more powerful, is that when you do it your own way, the thing that resonates with you, that's what makes it powerful. So
absolutely. I went through that too. I didn't have a leader to follow. I didn't know what to do. If there was nobody leading me through this, how am I supposed to do this on my own? And I went through, it was months of not doing anything because I just felt like, I don't have a teacher to follow. So what's the point?
Yep.
And then my guides kind of kicked my ass and said, you know what? You're not helpless. Do the stuff. Yes. Start doing the things. And I did. And, I felt it was awkward. And I felt like I was kind of pretending and going through the motions until I found my rhythm. And then I'm like, oh, I can actually do this on my own. And it was awesome. And from that point on, once you learn that and you connect with your own energy and your own way of doing things, that's empowering in a way that no teacher can really give that to you, no matter how great they are. That's got to come from you.
Absolutely. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is so I'm going to my first pagan, depending on if we are allowed to do this. At the end of May, there's a pagan festival. And I'm going, and it's out in the woods, basically, and, you know, we're going to all camp, and it's going to be a hippy-dippy time. So I asked them, because I was like, well, maybe Brad could bring you down, and we could hang out and do all that. And I asked the organizer, I'm like, are you going to have handicap accessible spots? Because we all know how fun it is to go through dirt and
Lord, yes.
Not have
wheelchairs are not all-terrain vehicles. We can't just go romping through the wilderness.
Yes. Although Brad is like, I bet we could make one. Like, he's totally like, I bet we could make
You know what? We've done it. Sabrina and I did it out at the ranch. We literally took this wheelchair through the sandhills. I mean, it was difficult, and it took like 4 people to do it, but we did it.
Nice. And that's the thing. I asked them. They're like, well, most of it'll be sod. It'll be pretty hard. And I'm like, okay, well, what about bathrooms? Well, we hadn't thought about that. I'm like, how did you get insurance? How did you get event insurance without, you know? So I wanted to talk to them about that. And that's on my, like, if we go ahead, if they're going to have it, they haven't emailed me back. I'm like, are we having this or not having this? And I do want to talk to them about being more prepared, because it's not, it's not fair. Like, you should you should be able to come out, drive you right up to where, like, the workshops are going to be, and allow you to be there. You should be able to go to the campground and all of the vendor tents and all this stuff. And it really freaking bummed me out that there really wasn't a plan. They had a loose plan, but their expectations of people's ability to push a wheelchair around through some of that stuff, I think, is way too high. Because, like, imagine if just your grandma took you. There's no way. She couldn't.
Nope.
Like, there's no plan for a lot of these. I started looking through. I'm like, okay, let me try a different. I just typed in pagan festivals around just anywhere. And I started looking at their events, because if you go to a concert, there's usually a tab to click to find out the details about a handicap accessibility to a music concert. I'm like, surely they have that stuff. It is amazing how many don't.
Yep.
There's no information. Like, and a lot of those don't answer their phone. They don't answer the emails unless it's a I would like to be a sponsor, you know, that kind of,
right.
Like, so I found that I'm kind of bummed out about our spiritual community for not being a lot more proactive with that particular thing. They're not. And it makes me kind of sad, because that's what we're supposed to be about, you know, being
inclusiveness.
Yes, inclusiveness and being together and helping one another out. And in other areas, we're doing really, really well. I will say that. In other areas, it's really good. But that's the one area that nobody talks about. Nobody prepares for it. So I'm hoping this will at least
start some conversations, at least make people think. It's just, you know, mostly people, they just don't think.
No.
And I get that. I understand that. But I also reach a point where I'm done holding hands here, and it's time that we start thinking outside of ourselves a little bit and, you know, think things through. And it's very frustrating. Everywhere I go, I see stuff every day. The thing that really bothers me is I will see something that has a handicap symbol on it that's not even remotely something that I could use, even in a wheelchair. I see stuff like, I see bathrooms I can't even get through the door with my wheelchair. And they get by with it. They all get by with it. And what am I going to do? Am I going to be the bitch that turns them in? And especially when they're small businesses, I'm going to be like, okay, I'm going to turn you in. You know, what am I going to do? So it kind of screws everybody all around. And it's very frustrating, but
I hope that people start talking about it, because there's other areas that they talk about plenty, trying to accommodate for other people. This is one that I'm hoping. I know there's another podcast that's going to, it's funny. We had talked about doing this, and then another podcast I listened to, one of them has, I'm not sure what she has, maybe some kind of autoimmune like I do. And she was talking about sometimes just not having the damn energy to do a ritual, because you don't have enough spoons. And so they were going to talk about that. And I emailed them like, dude, and they're like, oh, we should do an episode, you know, while they were in their episode, they're talking about doing another, one about that. So I text them like, dude, I'm doing one. They're like, good. And they're going to talk about it too. And hopefully their listeners can start conversations with people.
Exactly.
I don't consider that I have a disability, but I have an energetic, I guess, lacking.
Some limitations.
Yeah. Right now I'm going through a flare-up. I had this beautiful ritual that I was going to do, and I'm not doing it.
Yep.
I just don't have the strength. I'm tired. I'd like to go to sleep. My whole body hurts. And when I do rituals and spells, when I feel like this, they just fall flat anyway.
Yes. Yeah. I definitely, I'm the same way. My practice is kind of, sometimes it's few and far between, I don't always recognize all the moon phases, and I very rarely anymore do I do a full on ritual. It's usually just kind of mentally working with the energies somehow and acknowledging, okay, it's a full moon, and that's nice. And
yep.
It's kind of it. I mean, when you've got so much going on, and there's only so much, and that applies to everybody. You only have so much energy. It's only going to go so many places. So
yes,
nobody's perfect.
And we need to forgive ourselves, because sometimes I feel like we were like, oh, I'm a bad person or a bad witch because I didn't do that Sabbath, or I forgot.
Or feel like you can't call yourself a witch because you don't do rituals every day. That's bullshit.
Yes,
You're still a witch.
Yes.
I still consider myself a witch and even though I don't actively practice as a lot as many other people, and that's fine.
Exactly. I think that's a big thing, is forgive yourself. Like, it's not anyone's fault. It's not my fault that I have lupus and that I can't that day. And it took me a long time to grasp that, I guess, because I would get so pissed off at myself. This is, I mean, it's fairly new for me. I think, was it last year I got diagnosed? So, and it really hadn't affected my life until last year. But last year I had a really big depressive and energetic thing happened. And I think that's what triggered it. That's what my naturopath and she's very energetically in tuned as well, and she's like, you might have just had enough stress and enough shit going on that it finally just, that was it, and that's what triggered it. So I'm learning, but I still have days where I'm like mad. I'm so mad.
Absolutely. I've had this for, God, I'm 41 years old. That tells you how long I've had this. I still mourn the loss of my life that it used to be. I used to be walking. In high school, I walked along with everybody else. I mean, it damn near killed me sometimes, but I did it.
Right.
I kept up with everybody, and I still mourn that.
Oh, I bet.
I don't think I'll ever stop mourning it.
Probably not.
You just work through it as it comes and do the best you can.
Right. I remember, like, my earliest memories of you were, remember the trike? Like the big
bike, the big bike, 3-wheeled,
with the basket in the front. Like, I remember when we were little, we'd ride that around town.
The doctors told me that I would never have balance enough to ride a bicycle, so that's why we got that, because we thought, okay, well, I can still ride something like that. Well, then I had another bike that my cousin would ride, and I was fiddling around, just a regular 2-wheel bike. I was fiddling around on that, and I accidentally taught myself how to ride a 2-wheeled bike.
Woohoo!
Perfectly fine.
Yeah.
From that point on, I was just like everybody else. So, nothing against the medical community, but they don't know everything.
No.
When they tell you you can't do something, that's not always the case.
No, it's not. I think
especially back then. Back then they just kind of guessed and did the best that they could.
Probably. Yep. I always, like, I love my naturopath and I love my new doctor. I got a new, like, general practitioner.
Oh.
So I have a new doctor up in Hot Springs, and she is so much. I really like the way she deals with lupus. She's like, here's the deal. We could put you on meds, but this is what it does to you. And she's like, rather not. So I love that you're working with a naturopath. Here's what I can do for you as far as Western medicine goes. And she just kind of lets me just go navigate it myself. If I hit a wall somewhere, she's like, okay, you call me and we will figure out that. Because right now it's perimenopause and lupus are like fighting. So
that's a hell of a combination too.
It's fun. I feel bad for Brad. So that's what, like, she's really good about that. She's like, just let me know if you come across, like, energetic. Like, I have no energy lately, and I think that's partially because of the stupid perimenopause. So she's like, when it becomes too much, when all your other stuff isn't working, we'll worry about some kind of supplement or some way to boost your energy. And until then, she's like, you do you. So
That's awesome.
I cannot, I've been through like 4 doctors, Western medicine doctors, and they've all kind of fall flat. But this one, and she's a VA doctor.
Wow.
I know. I didn't have very high expectations, but but I really I switched regions and started going to hot springs, and they're fabulous. They are.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. There is nothing worse than a bad doctor, and I've got a really good one, and that's one reason why, the future, I don't want to go anywhere because I have this doctor that I have built years of trust with.
Oh, yeah.
That's not guaranteed. There are so many people that don't have a good relationship with their doctor, and that makes everything so much worse.
Yes.
So
I think open communication with your doctor, with everybody. I think that's so important no matter who you are.
And question things. I mean, they're human. Question. If you have concerns, for the love of God, bring it up and ask them. And you're not always going to agree, and that's okay. But yeah, I think a lot of the older generation just were taught to, this is the doctor, you do what he says. That's it, period. You don't speak up. Nothing.
So my dad does.
Yeah.
He's like, well, this is what it is, and I guess whatever. I'm like, you don't want a second opinion? Nope. Okay.
I've had some bad experiences with doctors. So when I first started seeing my current doctor, I sat down and I said, look, this is how it is. I don't trust doctors. I don't like you guys. So I'm going to need you to be straight with me, and then we're going to be fine. Otherwise, we're going to have a problem. And that's kind of just how I was snippy, because at that point I was very on edge and stressed out, and it was fine. He's like, gotcha. We're good.
A ton. So how, I want to talk about your spiritual practice and witchcraft. How has it helped? Because to me, looking in, I feel like, I'm not saying that it's an advantage, but you really are powerful with your mind. Like, you can tell that when you do Reiki or when I'm with you, your like third eye energy and all that is very, very focused. And I think it's like they say, like, when you lose one sense, you heighten the rest of them. Like,
right.
And when I tell people they want to sharpen their clairaudience, they want to clear hearing, close your eyes, cut off something so that you can't, one is gone so that you can focus. So I think for you, and my experience with you is that you're very focused in the third eye area. Does that help?
I agree with that. Yeah. For me, I think it's an advantage, actually, because I've basically had no choice but to sharpen the mental abilities and develop that. And it's helped tremendously because it's empowered me. I feel like I'm actually, even though I've had a lot taken from me, I've felt like I've had a lot taken from me in this life. Yeah. I have this other thing that has given me an unimaginable amount of freedom that I never thought that I would have again. I might not be able to be up and walk, but I can do shit with my mind. Absolutely. And that makes me, that's limitless. I mean, your mind, you can do anything with your mind. And that's, I have to spend a lot of time at home indoors, which is, I struggle with that a lot, but the focus for me, if I didn't have something else to focus and empower me, I don't know if I'd still be here. I think I would have gotten to the point where I just couldn't handle it anymore. So my spirituality is incredibly important to me because I learned how to empower me. And also it helps me to work with my body. It helps me to be kinder to my body. Yeah, I get frustrated with it, and I was angry with it for a long time, and I view it more now as we're partners.
Yes.
My body isn't me, but we're together here doing this thing. So, you just like any partnership, you communicate and you try to support each other. So, but yeah, absolutely. The freedom. Yeah, it's something that my guides have been pushing me to write about. I need to write about it. I know, but
yes,
we'll see how that goes.
Yes. I think that you have a very unique perspective on spirituality that would start an amazing conversation. I really do. I think it's something that the world needs. Because if you go right now and Google that subject, there's not shit. There's
not much, no. And I've not looked a whole lot, but just what I did. And that's kind of par for the course. I mean, in a lot of different areas, you don't find a lot. But yeah, I'm one of those people where if you have questions, come. I'm a stranger, but message me, ask me. I'm more than happy to answer questions to the best of my abilities from my experience anyways. I'm good with that. So
good. So because it's Corona time, we've got to talk about that a little bit.
Corona time.
For me, I'm an introvert. I spend most of my days in this house. If I'm not out with my ponies, my horses, then I'm in this house. It's where I feel safe. I like to read. I binge on Netflix. I hide behind a microphone and do podcasts. I mean, I'm an introvert. So it's not bothering me. I do see Brad and Maddie about to go crazy. Like, Maddie is quarantined for 14 days. Because before this whole thing happened, I mean, it had, like, we saw it happening, and they had paid for some ski stuff, her and her boyfriend. And so they went skiing, and they came back. And according to the new guidelines, we had to report that she went out of the area, and then she has to be quarantined for 14 days. So she's about to go. It's literally, she just got back yesterday. And she's, like, about to lose her damn mind. Already. I'm like, oh my God.
I think it's going to be really hard for the social people. Yeah. For us, it's, just another Tuesday.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I fight things down more, but that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much.
The house smells like bleach.
Yeah. That's exactly. It smells like disinfectant wipes. That's kind of the only new thing. So
same with me. There's tons of theories, which I don't even care about. Like, honestly, I know there's a lot of theories about where it started and how it's going, and if it's a cover up for I really don't care. All I want is for humanity to be safe.
Yes.
So that's what I've been focusing all of my, if I have any extra energy at night when I meditate, I try to send out Reiki to the situation. So that's how I've been dealing with it, because I don't know what else to do. I'm kind of frustrated. Today I feel better. Yesterday I bawled a lot. The day before I bawled a lot. You see the pictures of Italy and all these people.
Yes. Oh my God.
And China and all around the world. And we're in it's just a strange time. Like, it really is weird. I feel like half of the world thinks it's the zombie apocalypse, and the other half is like, just stay home. Like, I feel like that's the way it's gone, and that's all I know how to do. I don't know what to do.
Yeah. The thing that I noticed pretty early on into this is there was a lot of fear. I mean, I was scared. I'm still worried. There's fear there for me,
same.
but I'm literally worried for people I don't even like all of humanity. Like, I'm sitting here worrying for all of them. Like, I think a lot of us are feeling a connection. It's awakened that, we are all connected.
Yes.
Because right now we have this big scary thing that's not discriminating against anything. It's everybody's fair game. And and that was kind of hard to, I saw, what was it, a cartoon yesterday that I sat and bawled just over a cartoon. So
I think because we're empathic, I think it's simplified a little bit. What are maybe some tips that you do as far as managing that empathic side of you? What are you doing right now? So for me, I go outside. I go stomp around in my grass. I go hug my damn tree. Like, I've literally been doing things like that. So what are you doing?
My main thing is if I get overwhelmed, I try to, especially if I'm online at the computer or on my phone, I step away, I take some breaths and try to just a couple of slow breaths. And if that doesn't work, then I sit my ass at my altar and try to meditate. It's not always, when I get stressed and freaked out, it's kind of hard, but I will make myself at least sit there and, hold a crystal and watch the candle and just connect.
Anything.
I pray. Like you, I don't know what else to do. I pray. I don't even know how to pray for this. Honest to God, I don't know what specifically to ask. I've been praying for compassion in the hearts of everybody.
That's pretty much
I think that's a big one.
Hoping is that this
help each other for the love of God. Just
I feel
do what you can.
Yep. I feel like it's a really shitty situation, of course, and I hate to be the hippie there's a silver lining to everything. Yeah. Look hard enough. And I think this is showing everyone how connected we are. We are so deeply connected. We are connected to the very first person that started this. We are connected because We are. We're connected to China because that's where we get our drugs.
Mm-hmm.
We get a lot of our medications, our supplies, our freaking toilet paper. So
we have to rely on everybody. I mean, we
Yes.
we all have a part in this. So yeah,
Yes.
I mean,
and they're literally showing people, like, just the toilet paper thing. It's literally showing people what you do when you're greedy. You're depriving someone else. It's not just that you're self-absorbed and, oh, I wanted that. No, it's you take too much of anything, you're depriving somebody else of that
yes.
thing. And I think it's a very simple concept that is being like broadcasted in right now.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Your actions affect your neighbor. Your if I'm here inside and I'm not leaving because I have lupus and I'm my immune system doesn't handle things very well. I catch everything. My neighbor across the street here is super he was in the hospital for like 3 weeks. Like a while ago. He's had surgeries. He's very high risk. And I started thinking about I know that Arthur is too. Hyannis is a very elderly centric. Like,
yes.
tons of elderly people here. And it makes me very frustrated, and I've had to deal with anger right now. Because I get mad and I see people going like online, like, hey, I'm headed to Denver. Anybody need anything from me? No, you're going to a place where there's shitloads of cases. Stay home and don't come back here. Or, if you're going to leave, don't come back here, because you could get, you go to the grocery store and touch a bunch of crap, because that's what we do. We pick things up, we look at the label, and we put it
all the time. Yes.
So then, neighbor over here that has really high risk needs to go get something, picks the same thing up, takes it home, and itches their eye.
Yep.
It's all so connected. Like, that's what's blowing my mind is the universe.
It's bringing to mind more mindfulness, because we're not, and I mean, even for me, my God, I didn't realize honestly, I wasn't washing my hands enough. I didn't realize that until now. I'm like, oh my God, how are we still alive? How have we not caught something?
Yes.
And before now, because it's just, and the touching the face, nobody can stop touching the face.
Oh my God.
I swear to God.
I just did it again. Somebody has got to show me, like, I'm going to go ahead and put this, eventually I'll put it online, but somebody will have to put at the end of this, how many times did I touch my face? Like, I swear to God, it's probably dozens. I've got
I physically can't touch my face, so I have that going for me, but I have other things that touch my face, so I have to be sure and clean those, and that's taken a lot of my energy, just cleaning that stuff. So.
I had no idea. So I was just going around, everything Maddie touches, I clean.
Yeah.
She's been pretty good about cleaning up, about, wiping things down after she touches it. But oh my God, it's an all-day thing.
Yeah.
And I know she's sick of it already. She's like, I'm so sick of the coronavirus. I'm so sick of, cleaning up and, and I get it. But it is really, if there's one thing we can learn from this, is that we're all so intimately connected. We're connected to the guy clear across the world, that's sitting in a hospital bed. We're connected to everyone. And I already believed that, but it's shown me in a tangible way. Really shitty tangible way. It's really shown me, like, this is a truth. Like, if you can think of anything, like, we have certain truths in life. We are going to die someday. My flesh will run out and die out, and my spiritual body will ascend. That's truth. Another truth is that every one of us is connected to everyone else.
Yes. So, and I'm seeing a lot of people that have never openly talked about that kind of thing before. I'm seeing them question that a lot right now.
Yes. Which is fantastic.
I think it's a good thing. Yes. There are some good things. There's a lot of scary things coming around with this, but there are some very good things that are happening too, which is a huge relief.
It is. There's got to be something good coming out of things like this. I mean, one, it's pointing out how crappy our healthcare system is.
Yeah.
And hopefully that'll get fixed. But it is, and all around the world, it's pointing that out. We don't have enough hospital beds or ventilators or respirators. We don't have enough of the things that we need to handle this kind of threat. And we'll only get more of these as time goes on, because as we evolve, so do viruses and bacteria and everything else. It's just how shit works.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm hoping that the healthcare community worldwide learns and starts making a plan for if this happens again, because this
Yeah.
may be the last time in our lifetime that this will happen. I'm sure. I mean, we've had H1N1 and SARS and what was the other? Oh, swine flu or whatever. That was
Yeah.
bird
There's
flu.
been quite a few of them. Yeah.
Was it when we were in high school they had the bird flu?
There was something. There was one thing that they were talking about that showed up randomly and then randomly did. Viruses are weird.
Weird.
I don't understand how they keep track of them. So kudos to them for doing that. But they're complicated.
Yep. No, and I think until humanity learns some pretty big lessons, this is just a cycle that's going to keep happening.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But I think I know a lot of other spiritual conversations that I've had with people. They have agreed. I think the world is awakening.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is a big awakening for a lot of people. And it's
uncomfortable. And I know a lot of people will probably hear that. I think some people hear awakening and they're like, seriously, really? It's consciousness. You're just being aware.
It's you.
That's all it is awareness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Reword it so that the muggles don't get squirmy.
Even I'm in the middle of this, and even I sometimes get a little irritated at that. I think, that sounds a little pretentious, but okay, I get your point,
Yes. All it is being aware and mindful of you and your actions and the rest of the world and how it affects. I think it's scary, and I think that's where a lot of the fear is coming from some people, is that they're they're like, oh shit. That's a truth, and it's hard to deal with if you have not believed that your entire life and faced with something like that. I think it challenges your belief system, and you
absolutely
express fear. So I don't know. I hope it's all over soon.
Oh, I do too. It's been an interesting ride so far.
Yes. I have decided, I think I talked to you earlier about it, but I want to tell everybody's like, what do I do? What do I do? I've gotten a lot of questions like, what am I supposed to do? Like in my house, I'm alone all day, whatever. If you're not used to being an introvert, books. Books, and I am going to start, because normally I get up, I slap on a ponytail and some, lately it's been kitty cat pajamas. That's how I go about my day. But I decided to make myself feel like I'm being productive, and I don't get, because eventually being told I cannot go to the grocery store is going to frustrate me.
Oh, yes.
So I decided I'm going to get up and put on actual pants. Like right now, I have pants on.
Wow.
So I thought, you know what? I'm going to put on pants and at least do my hair a little bit, put on some basic makeup as if I was going to go to work. And that might not be right for everybody, but for me, it's going to make me feel like I'm functioning. And
that's exactly what I did today too. That's why I put some makeup on. I put something other than pajamas on. It's, it's kind of nice just to do something nice for yourself once in a while. So,
and that I decided it's good for me. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, I'm a yoga. I love Qigong because during a flare up, I can't do a whole lot. Like yoga even hurts sometimes too much, but Qigong, I can stand there and bounce around, and it's basically touching my meridians. And for me, that at least moves the energy around for me, and self Reiki. Like those are the things I'm going to do every day.
Yeah. I need to do more self Reiki. For some reason, I can do it on other people, but I never think to do it on myself. I do it on my water usually when I think about it. My first thing of water in the morning, I try to Reiki and get some good juju going. But
I've been doing it to my coffee.
I'm having to cut back on coffee right now. I'm having reflux issues, and I figure, can't exactly run to the doctor for random things, so maybe I should be smarter about the beverages. So I'm trying to drink more tea. It's not the same.
Yes. I have ordered my naturopath, for anybody listening, my naturopath suggested ginger, culinary sage, and thyme, and have that in a tea. And I actually got tired of mixing it because I'm lazy. And I'm going to run out if I keep drinking this tea so much. I went and it was cheap. I got it on Amazon. I don't know if you can still get it now, but it was like $8 for a big box of each one of those. And I'm just going to put each tea bag in together. So I'll have 2 bags in, and that's how my tea will be made.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm going through it so fast. I'm like, I better get something. And then I heard on, because everything's true on the internet.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
I heard that Amazon is limiting restocks of non-essentials from companies. So you're not going to be able to get like sparkly glitter shoes anymore, which I checked.
I know.
So yes.
I kind of expected that to happen though, with all the shipping and people running out of the good stuff. And I don't know.
Yep. So another thing I wanted to kind of point out to everybody, I know Amazon is going to take a crap at some point. You know, right now, like I went to go get that oxycillium, the homeopathic flu medicine. And I wanted to get that because that helps symptoms. So if any of us gets and they're like just self-quarantine, I thought that might be a good thing to have on hand. They're $40 a piece on Amazon.
Oh,
they're
wow.
$12 at the grocery store.
Well, that's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah. So, and they're nowhere else. I couldn't find them. I had somebody look, couldn't find them, but there are small grocery stores. So if you can get to a small grocery store somewhere or a health food store, you can get that kind of thing. But somebody pointed out, like, what about all of us with small businesses? There's ways, like, buy a gift certificate for after you can get out. So like, I can't go get my nails done. So I thought I would call them and buy a gift, like a gift card for myself.
Oh yeah.
So when it's all done, I have supported them and I can go get my nails done. Etsy has so much stuff. People don't think there's stuff on Etsy that you would need during something like this, but there really is. There's so much stuff. I spent just a little time this morning searching basic things, tinctures and vitamins. A lot of people make homeopathic remedies and they put them on Etsy. And Etsy's fine. There was no lag. There was no slowing down. They haven't announced that they were going to close, but Etsy supports small businesses.
Yes.
So that's what I've decided. We have Shelly Leggett. She does herbs. So any herbs I don't already have, like I'm about to run out of mugwort and something else. I was doing an inventory. Like everybody else is like, how many cans of beans do I have? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to run out of.
How much sage do I have?
Yes. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to run out of sage. I'm going to run out of herbs. What am I going to do? So I'm like inventorying everything. And Shelly has huge sage sticks and all.
I saw that. I got to get me some of those when I run out of mine.
Yes. And she has the elderberry syrup pre-mixture packets. So if anybody is listening that does not know where to get elderberry syrup, you can get it from her. She has a video on how to work it, how to make it. I am, how do I word this nicely? I am lacking the skills of a domestic witch. So I was a little intimidated by making a syrup, but it's super easy. Like you add some water and you boil it and you strain it and you add some honey and it was done.
Awesome.
So, yeah. And I didn't screw it up. So if I can do it, y'all can do it. So check her out. I think, Rena offers. So Rena, Holistic Healing Therapeutics. So I've got to schedule one with her. I'm feeling like shit. I think I need I've felt the heaviness of everything. And she does inner diamond sessions, which is basically realigning, kind of, to me, it's like a restart. When I feel like shit, I call her and we do one of those and I feel like somebody hit the do-over button. So when I'm done, I feel like I've gotten like a really powerful Reiki session is what it feels like to me. I feel more connected to my spirit team when I get done, and I feel physically better when we're finished. So if anybody's out there feeling heavy and needing a little cleansing, she does that. You can go to our sponsor.
Rena's awesome. Yes.
Amazing. I know she's got a new key coming out.
I saw. I cannot wait to see what that's all about. That'll be great.
I cannot wait. I've been sleeping with the dragon one.
I sleep with the alchemy one. It's by my bed every night.
I love these keys. Somebody was asking me, how do they work? What do they feel like? And I don't know, when I touch mine, especially right now, my dragon key and we're like this. So when I touch that thing, like, I'm not kidding, my whole body just feels like it's it's buzzing, like it's like awakens all my molecules and I'm buzzing all over. That's the way that one makes me feel right now. I use the original one for pendulum work and Aurora one, the one with the really I've been using that one to clean out my aura. So I'll be meditating and I'll use it to like scoop crap out, you know, metaphorically, I guess. I'll literally like be holding it and be like, okay, I feel something over here, and kind of wave it next to his phone. It feels bad. So I
like to use that one when I'm doing intuitive work, the Aurora key. Yes. I do it when I'm doing my tarot or Akashic Records, or even just meditating. It likes to sit with me in meditation. I think it helps. In general, it'll help raise your vibration, if nothing else. But I like that it's unique to every person.
I used the very first one. So when I went out and I put the cures that Irina showed me needed to go when I did the ranch, that whole thing with the ranch, when I put in all those little copper cure sticks, I used the original one. I would hold it and it would be like a pendulum, and I would stop. It would like be going like this, and we'd go to the right spot and it'll just, that would be the end of it. It would stop.
That's awesome. And I never would have thought to use it for that either.
I saw it sitting there. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take it with us. I didn't know what I was going to use it for. I'm like, I'll take it with. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, it wants to be a pendulum. So for me, it's a pendulum. And I never really even worked with pendulums before. Like I've got one, but I don't ever really mess with it either. Yeah. I'm like, oh, it's pretty. But that one, that's what I do. I have, if I'm doing any kind of intuitive work where I need to do like a muscle test, like reflex test, I will, hold it up and ask it, if I, ask it the same question I was asking my intuition, and kind of gives me one more layer of, okay, that's right. So that's how I use it. If you feel comfortable, do you want to talk about the Akashic Records? And
sure. For me right now, that's been a good source of comfort for me. It's a very empowering tool. I had one of your listeners reach out to me the other day after listening to the episode that we did on Akashic Records, and she wanted to know how to learn how to do it herself, which I thought was fantastic. It's in a higher level, a higher dimension. So when you open them and you access it, it's just a complete shift. Right. If you're sensitive to energy, if you're an empath in particular, it's totally different. There is no fear. There is no chaos. There's no confusion, no nothing. It's calm. It's open. It's very relaxing. And I opened mine the other day. I took a break because I had some shit go down, and I quit literally all of my practice. So I had been on a break for a while, and I've kind of slowly been getting back doing it for myself. But I opened it the other day, and it was such a nice break from just literally, I feel the chaos swirling around us all the time. It's just this maelstrom of everybody's fear. And interestingly enough, the information that I got kind of jived with what several other readers got too. And that was kind of just, we have our own power. Even though all this shit's going down, we're not helpless.
Right.
But we need to kind of learn to fend for ourselves in some ways and reach out and help other people. And it was they wanted to really emphasize community and, just gathering. I mean, we're sequestered in our houses a lot of times, but we have the internet. We have this video chat. I have been video chatting with so many people. As an introvert, I have never been more social than the last week.
Yeah.
And it's been great. I've been checking up on people, and they've been checking up on me. And
but
anybody that even has the slightest interest in the Akashic Records, I recommend just to get a book and read about it.
Yeah.
And if you like that, then check it out. Find some classes I can recommend people.
Definitely.
It's a wonderful thing. I think everybody should learn to do it. It's very empowering.
I think it's a beautiful service. It's a beautiful modality. I think it's something that I hadn't even heard of until you started doing it. I was like, what is this thing? And when the readings are beautiful. I'm hoping to get back into that again. I just have to keep
it takes you a while after you've taken a break from whatever you're doing. It takes a while to get back in the swing of things. And I think now is the time to get back in the swing of things. So I'm trying to get there.
I think so. I just started doing readings again, and I was terrified to do the first one. I hadn't done it a couple months, and I was like, oh my God, this feels like the first time I did one. And being butterflies, and it was, oh man, yeah, very overwhelming, but it was good because afterwards I'm like, oh my gosh. It's for me, it's almost like, you know, the adrenaline junkies that do things because it feels good afterwards? Like, they're like, oh, it feels so good.
Yes.
I do a reading, it's like that. It's like afterwards, my whole body, I think it's a crown chakra buzz. Maybe. I
get that too. I am the same way. Every reading, I was always nervous to do it. And I would feel the jitters throughout the reading.
Yeah.
As soon as I closed it, it's a high. And you're buzzing. No matter how much I try to ground, you're buzzing for a while. So it's incredible energy. It's incredible work. I've never experienced anything like that before, intuitive work. And it's incredibly humbling to do intuitive work like that, because it's not you. You're not doing the information. You're the channel. The information is coming through you.
Yes.
It's wonderful.
I absolutely love it. Like, if we were talking the other day in our little group about how, like, if anybody would have told me 10 years ago this was what I would be doing, I would have told them, what the hell are you smoking? Like,
right?
No way. Like, what?
I didn't even know any of this existed. I mean, witchcraft, I knew about that, but all this other stuff, I had no clue.
Nope. I don't know. It's so funny. When I went to school to do the hypnotherapy, I had to take a, what did they call it? I think they called it intuitive something or other class. I think it was supposed to be like an angel reading type class. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. And they made me take spiritual life coaching. And I didn't want to. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I just want to do hypnotherapy. I didn't want to do any of that stuff. And after I took those classes, because they made me do a bunch of readings.
I think I was one of those.
Yep.
You did a reading for me. Yeah.
Yep. And after I started, I'm like, I don't know what else I could do because this feels so right. Like, wow. I was so mad. I tried. I called my advisor. I'm like, I'm not taking these classes. This is dumb. Why should I have to pay for that if that's not what I want to do? And they're like, part of the curriculum, if this is what you want to do, if you want the mind body, if you want the certificate at the end, you have to do these classes. I'm like, freaking fine. And I was so mad. And the instructor, like, I was salty with him to begin with because I remember he was like, you know, we're in a little group online, and he was like, everybody introduce yourselves and why are you taking the class? I'm like, my name's Danae Sweet, and I gotta take this class. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, afterwards, I'm like, I'm really sorry that I was such an asshole in the beginning. I really, really enjoy it, and I barely do hypnotherapy anymore. I do it on myself. I do help self-hypnosis, and every once in a while there'll be somebody want to do past life regression. So that's really the only things now. I do past life regressions using hypnotherapy. I don't read. I know some people do readings for past life, so I don't do that. We use hypnotherapy and then the client. So like you would tell me while you're under all of what you're seeing, which is super fascinating. But I don't even do the things. I should have just bypassed all the other shit and just did all the spiritual stuff because I end up doing.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I love how things just work out that way.
I do too, and I love that there are so many unique modalities out there, and we don't even know all of them. And just the ones that we do know, it's so varied. It's amazing.
It's so cool. I love that. Rena, I'd never heard of what she does.
I hadn't either. That's just blows my mind.
I was like, what the hell is geomancy? When I first met her and I started learning about her stuff, when I first heard the word geomancy, I don't know why, but I thought in my head, I'm like, necromancy.
I did the same thing. I was like, what the hell is that?
I'm like, she's creepier than me. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, yeah. Then I figured out what she did, and she taught us about it, and I'm like, dang, that is the coolest thing I have ever. There's so many cool things out there. And
what I like is it's so simple, but it's also so complex at the same time.
Yes.
It's so easy to do, but it's phenomenal results. I mean, I've told her this, she is one of the most magical people I know, and I know a lot of magical people, so.
It really is. There's nothing, I know that she's had lately she's had some pretty heavy things going on in her life, but she's always somebody that makes me smile. Always.
Yes, absolutely. She's so much fun.
She is. No matter how hard things get for her personally, she's always a light for someone else. So I really appreciate her being in our lives, because
absolutely,
definitely need
absolutely that. We love you, Rena.
I like to tell them whenever I see Rena, and when we do the video chats and stuff with Rena and Shelly, I always like to tell them, I love your face. I don't get to see your
face.
Yeah,
I've seen those comments.
I don't get to see your face enough. Like on social media, we text so much. Like when I see your face, I'm like, yes.
Yep.
I think that's cool. Well, is there anything that you want to tell? Like event, because I want the event. There's somebody listening here that does pagan events, that does events for like the witchy bazaars and stuff they have. Is there anything you would like to tell them on how, because I imagine some of them have fear too, like I don't want to offend anybody, but I need to know some things. Is there anything that you could tell them that are the things that are most important to you when you look at going to an event?
So what I look at going somewhere, the two main things that I have to check out are, one, is it wheelchair accessible, the ground and everything, and two, bathrooms.
Yes.
And bathrooms are a huge thing. And I know, especially if it's, out in the boonies somewhere, you can't have the fancy indoor bathrooms. They do have handicapped porta potties.
Yes, they do.
They're not great.
No.
And not everybody can use them. I can use them with some help. It gets pretty close and personal and interesting, but I've done it. I have no problem doing it as long as I have a helper. That works for me.
Right.
But I have no idea how expensive those are, what they run, but I mean, at least consider that, so they have that option, and it should always be included. Yeah, not everybody can walk. I mean, that doesn't come to a lot of people's minds, and some people walk with canes.
Yes.
A lot of people walk with canes now, and they can't walk on uneven ground. And honestly, there are disability advocates. I know of a couple, one, she's in Canada, and I'm not sure where the other one is, but there are disability advocates out there that would be more than happy to, help people understand things. I'm not an advocate, but I'm more than happy to give my opinion on literally anything, even if it's just some random person curious about something, message me. I don't care. I'll answer.
I think that's awesome, because I think a lot of people are afraid to ask because they don't want to offend. And
some people, everybody's different. Some people feel like my life is none of your business and I'm not going to answer your questions.
Yeah.
And I feel like all you can do is just politely ask. And if they're one of those people, they're like, nope, then just respect it and keep going.
Move on.
That's all you can do. Yeah.
And that's what I'm hoping. That's my next, I always have a project, and that's my next project. Once this settles down, I would like to contact the pagan festivals that I was going to go to. I want to talk to them. There's somebody in Colorado Chanda is an advocate. She has a whole foundation and everything, and I would really like her input on these outdoor festivals.
Oh, that would be great.
Because like Brad and I were like, I want to bring Taryn to one of these. It's great. It'd be so fun. And because he's like, I'll go, but he's like, how long do I have to stay? So he's like, I could totally take her and, make a day trip or whatever. But we were like, I don't know. There's nothing on the website about it. So I have no idea what to expect myself when I get there, let alone somebody that I need to know that there's a bathroom and that sort of thing. And I know there's porta potties, and they're not that much more than the rest of them, because when we had our thing out at the ranch, we got them. So I know that they make them, and they're really not any different than buying them. So people. Yeah,
I have to, when I go places, we have to call ahead, and we have to ask very specific questions about the bathroom. I have to ask, is there room that I can get the wheelchair beside the toilet, because I can't stand up to transfer. I have to slide sideways. Right. I have to ask how tall the toilet is, how tall the sink is.
Wow.
All these things. And it's gotten better, especially with the hotel industry. It's gotten better. But at the beginning, people were like, why the hell are they asking all these questions? I mean, even though you tell them, you could just see it in their face or hear it in their voices. They're like, well, okay.
Right. Yeah.
Do I have to go look at the bathroom? Seriously? I'm like, yeah, I kind of need that information, please.
Yeah.
So yeah, communication. Everything is about open communication. You just have to keep communicating things.
Okay. Well, I'm hoping, I'm going to talk to her and see if I can get her information too. And maybe I can link it in the show notes. So if anybody has any questions, she runs a whole organization for.
She has resources then, I'm betting.
Serious resources and planning, and she's brilliant. So at finding a way. So I think that she would be somebody really cool. I'm hoping that I can reach out to her and she will help me with some of these. Because I know she works with other places like you can go to Red Rocks and you can go there. There's all kinds of places in Colorado that you can go. However, these pagan events, not as accessible. I think they have the half-ass plan or a basic plan, and I don't want to be bad-mouthing them, but I think that's
true though.
I don't think it comes from a place of malice. I don't think no. They think, oh, this is good enough. We'll have handicap parking and that'll be fine.
Yep.
Like, no.
Yep, I would agree with that.
So hoping they will start thinking a little bit more about it. I know I do. I know every time I sit down to design a ritual or a spell, I think about it. I think about how hard it would be for someone else to do it that can't use their hands fully functional, or like I know some people require for rituals to stand in all the directions. That's not everybody can do that.
Right.
I'm lazy and I just don't do it. And
as a person with a disability, I would just like to say that thank you for doing that and for thinking of us, because just to be included is huge, because we're used to being overlooked. I'm used to being falling through the cracks and being overlooked a lot. So just little things like that are tremendously huge, and we appreciate that. I appreciate that very much, especially for my friends. So thank you.
Yes. I think it's, I swear, like, there are two people in my little circle that I know need to write books. You are one of them. And if Natalie is listening, she's the other one.
Absolutely. I would buy her book in a heartbeat.
Yes. So I still think that there that's on the horizon somewhere for you. I really do.
You and my guides both. I know, and I've been getting that information in basically every reading I've ever had. So I know it's there. I need to just connect with it somehow.
I posted on Twitter the other day. I get so defensive. So I've been working on my book, and Brad will be like, I don't know why. Maybe it's because he's a guy and he just needs to know. He's like, how many words you have? And immediately I'm like, that's how I feel. I'm like, he's like, how many words do you have? I'm like, what do you need to know? Is it a contest?
What does it matter to you?
Like, why do you care? He's like, I don't know. I just wanted to know. I'm like,
backing away slowly.
I don't know what it is about it. Like, somebody asked, how's your book? I'm like, am I not far enough along for you? So there's that. So at some point he will read it. I'm not letting him read it either until I'm done. Because I would too. He's like not going to maybe appreciate or like. I want it to be as close to the truth as possible without being too truthful.
Right.
And it's funny. So I have everybody's name in there, and I've changed the names, but he hates his name in the book. I call him, I don't know why, but his name is Grant in the book. And he's like, wait, what? I'm like, I don't know why your name is Grant. I don't know. I just thought, I was like, what do I name Brad? And it's Grant. So
that's great.
So that's, he hates that. So that may change at one point. I don't know. But that's his name for now. Grant. Maybe it's because we live in Grant County.
Could be.
I don't know how I made those up. Maddie is Claire. So yeah. Remember Spanish class when we had to make our names? The only Spanish phrase I know is me llamo Diana, soy de Venezuela. Literally the only thing I know how to say in Spanish anymore.
That's great.
So my name in my book is Diane.
Awesome.
So a little throwback to Spanish class.
Nice. Mrs. Helmer would appreciate that.
That's what I thought, with all of her redacted cuss words in the book. Like, you can still see through it. You could see through to see the cuss words.
Yeah, that didn't work very well.
No, and we didn't even have the internet back then.
I know, we
Did,
were
but we didn't really have
resourceful.
access to it.
Hmm.
We played Oregon Trail for 5 minutes.
That and that stupid shooting game. What was that game?
Oh
The
God, what was that?
Wolfenstein or something like that. That was
Yep.
big.
That was so huge. That was one of the first like first person shooter type like games that
Gory, so gory.
it
Played it in school, just in class. Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Playing Wolfenstein?
Yep.
Nowadays it'd be like, no way. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for doing this. It's been fun. And I think
it's my pleasure.
I think that everybody's going to at least get a conversation going about.
I hope so.
Yeah. I think so. I think it's something that needs to be talked about. And I see more, there's few, the other podcasters I'm seeing kind of touch on that subject. And every once in a while I'll see somebody trying to bring light to it on Twitter.
But Twitter's actually pretty activist heavy. They got a lot of people going on there. I'm kind of impressed.
And I'm not like super, I suck at Twitter, to be honest.
So do I.
I'm trying, but I have noticed, you know, if you search a certain hashtag or, you know, you can do that and you can see that people are actually posting more stuff about that and more articles and, you know, hey, I went here today and I couldn't because, you know, it wasn't accessible. Or somebody else was parked in their spot or parked too close to their van. They couldn't get out.
All the time.
So I really do. I know a lot of people bitch about social media, but for me, and I know for a lot of us, it's the only way we connect to people. It's also how we get a voice heard.
Yes.
That's how you do it anymore. It's just the reality. Yep. So I
have started opening up a lot more just on my personal page about my day-to-day life, and a lot of people follow me, and a lot of locals really watch what I say on there, which I appreciate. So I've tried to, in my own small way, you know, raise some awareness of what I go through, and I think I have done that.
I think so. I think a lot. I know everybody, like in our class, we were very aware. So I think, you know, going forward in our normal lives after high school, I think all of us had a reference, something to go, okay, well, that's not right, because I know Taryn won't be able to do that. Like, I know that when I was going through certain things, you know, it always would be in the back of my mind when I'd go do something or see somebody in a wheelchair on campus, feel like, how are they supposed to get all the way across campus?
I literally lived that experience in my college experience, and it was, the whole system was set up to see me fail. It was just, it was inadequate.
It is.
They didn't, it was literally part of what contributed to my downfall was trying, and it was a small, I went to a tiny community college, tiny.
Yep.
In the walking that I had to do, there were stairs, they had automatic lifts.
Yeah.
But they took like 5 minutes to get up 10 stairs.
Holy shit.
And in the process, it blocked the entire stairwell. Yeah, so everybody else couldn't use it. Yeah. So I would be, you know, pissing everybody else around me. So I was self-conscious. So I stopped using it.
Oh my
God.
And
that was bad for me. It just, I mean, we've come a long way.
Yeah.
Definitely. But there's still a lot of work to be done.
Still a lot of work. I remember trying to get from class to class when I had them close together and have to run all the way across campus.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I could barely do it.
What were they even thinking doing that?
Like,
I don't know.
Barney wasn't that big of a campus, and I still had a hell of a time. I was probably hung over a lot of those days, but
yeah, that too. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, I will make sure that I have. Do you have a link? Can we do? Do you want email? We could do email.
I can do my email. Yeah, my email. Excuse me, is sandhillsoul@gmail.com, and you'll have that in the show notes. Anybody can message me through Facebook. Happy to chat.
Awesome. Are you on Instagram? Yeah, you are.
I am sandhillsoul, I think, on Instagram.
I'll put all those there. So if somebody's not comfortable with email, I know a lot of people just use Instagram. So I'll make sure I put both of those in the show notes and in our group too. Like when this is all done, I'll put it in our Witchy Woman Friends group so that if anybody wants to just grab it right off of there, they can too.
Sounds good. I'm always happy to make more connections. So, yay, friends!
Exactly. I want to thank Taryn again. Like, I know it's been a while, but I thank you so much for being a part of my life and the podcast and just everything. Just thank you. I'll include all of this stuff, the links and things from the show notes from way back when. I'll add that to the current stuff I normally tag onto all the notes and stuff. So you'll have those. So anyway, I hope you guys are having a good week, a good start to your spring. I think we have a chance of some showers, some actual rain, which we need so badly. And I think the Boulder fires, I think they're going to get some rain today too, or hopefully. So hopefully they get some of a much needed rain as well. So yay. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing well, and I will talk to you later. And as always, stay witchy. Bye bye.